Hello, beautiful people. Today I am in East Harlem on East 112th Street, and I often walk by this beautiful church. It's nestled between some residential buildings, and it's not really so obvious if you're just walking out on the main avenue. But it always catches my eye. I love the crown of the building at the top. There's just something so beautiful about it, and it almost looks out of place alongside the other buildings. And I've been wanting to sketch this, so here I am. I'm sitting outside and I'm beginning my sketch. I thought I'd take you guys along with me and walk through my initial steps and how I lay out my sketches. So right here you'll see I just drew a line down the center of my mini canvas. To get this center line, I drew approximate lines from corner to corner, made a little X in the center of my canvas, and drew a line straight up. Now I'm estimating the height of the building. I'm going to start with that center long portion of the building. You'll have to forgive the focus here. It was on location, so I literally have my cell phone rigged up to my tripod seat just to video while I go along, so the focus may go in and out as I move my hand. I'm going to speed things up here a little bit as I lay out my initial proportions of this building. You can see that I'm starting with the center portion of the building, and then I'm going to add to the sides. I'm laying out my largest shapes. After I have the proportions that I want, then I will start breaking these large shapes down into smaller shapes. I've now added the crown of the building, and I'm going to break down the rest of the building. If you'll notice, the bottom portion of the building where the door is, it's about the same height as the middle portion of the building where we have the large double window and then two windows on the left and the right. And the very top portion of the building is much more narrow. As you can see right here, I've decided to make a correction in the width of the side of the building here on each side to make them just slightly wider. I realized that I had them too narrow, so I'm going to make that correction now. For mini sketches, you truly don't have to be that precise. There's a lot of implied detail in the final painting, but in reality, there's really not that much detail. So it's very forgiving to do these tiny sketches. But I think this whole process just goes to show that even when we feel like we're doing well with our artwork, we will always make mistakes, and that's just part of the process. There's always going to be something to correct or some mistake I've made in every piece of artwork I do. It's just the process of it, and you have to learn to embrace it. And I think as time goes on, you'll get better at seeing those errors and changing them before you get to the end of the drawing. So just embrace those errors and mistakes you made, because that's how we grow and learn as artists. I've now placed in the top row of windows, and if you have a sharp eye, you'll probably notice a little bit of a mistake I made there. I'll correct it later. That top portion of the building has a round curvature to it, and it wasn't until a little later on that I realized the upper part of my windows need to angle differently. So the center window should be pretty square looking, but the windows to the left and the right, the tops of those need to lean with perspective. So the top line of those windows need to lean left and right from the center point. Once I get to the end of my sketch and painting, you'll see that I've corrected it. Okay, I have almost all of the bones of this building drawn in. After I finish the bottom window areas, I'll start adding some more details into the crown and a few other areas. It was about this time that a big, huge van pulled up right in front of me. I was lucky enough that there was an open parking space when I was drawing here. I was sitting on the sidewalk near the curb, and of course, just as I was finishing the drawing, the van pulled in. So that made things a little more complicated, but I still got through it. I think this is just one of those challenges that comes with urban sketching. You just don't know what your settings will bring you. especially when you're sketching people. I think that's even harder. Oftentimes you'll sit down to draw, and before you know it, that person that you're drawing has gotten up and gone on their way. I will often take a few photos before I start sketching in order to give me a reference point if I need it. And this has certainly come in handy many times. In this particular situation, one of the reasons that I started drawing this building at this time of day was quite early in the morning, around just after 8 a.m. And the light was really beautiful because it was casting some really pretty shadows on the building as the light was shining from the east side. And if you look toward the bottom portion of the entrance, you'll see some heavier shadows along the windows. And I just love that. And I love how the top portion, where the building is rounded, has much darker windows on the right-hand side, all because of the way the light is hitting. Sometimes choosing the best time to sketch is also a good strategy, because things just look so much more interesting when you have more dramatic light with nice brights and really deep dark shadows. It just makes the final painting more interesting, and it makes it a little bit easier for us to see where those shadows and lights are falling on our subject. Okay, so the sketch is complete, and I'm about to add some paint here. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit the record button, but as you can see, the first thing I've done is I've added in all of my darkest shadows. So I've mixed up some brick red paint to add to the painting. I'm going to lay in my middle values. You'll notice that when I start to paint in the middle section of the building, I'm going to leave a line of white along the left-hand side. This will really help that center section pop forward and make the painting look more 3D. It will help tell the viewer that this area of the building protrudes. And along the right-hand side, you'll see I already have that dark gray shadow in. That will go a bit darker as well to show that the area to the right of it recedes. I'm now coming back with a darker shadow color, and I'm darkening up some of the shadows there and just filling in a bit more of the red brick, being careful to leave some white of my paper to help give the 3D effect. I'm now coming back with another layer of the brick red color. This will help give the windows some definition and add a little bit more detail. I'm also going to come through and darken up all of my shadows so that I can really capture the shadows on the building that I fell in love with to begin with. So at this point, the light has already changed so much on the building, and it's actually become rather overcast outside, and the sky was starting to turn dark and threaten to rain. So I did as much as I could on location, and I went ahead and packed up my things and brought it home to finish the rest. On the end screen, you can see my finished painting. I really hope that this helps give you an idea of how I approach my mini sketches and in general, my urban sketches. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up. I hope that you've subscribed to my channel and that you're enjoying the videos I make. If you could just leave a comment below and tell me what kind of videos are your favorite videos that I've been making, and I'll try to make more of those. I hope this encourages you to get out there and keep sketching. And if no one has told you today, your art is good enough. Keep sketching, friends.